Hey, what is up, guys? So welcome back to the second video of the mini series where we do some logical problems that will enhance our programming skills. So yeah, so in this video we will be building this structure. So this was given to you as an assignment yesterday. So yeah, first let's do this, and then we will hop into the simple and easy method that I said I would show you guys for yesterday video question. So let's get started. So for this, you can basically see that there is a loop that depends that on which depends the number of rows of these stars. Okay, so if the user says 3, so this has to be a 3 row something. So okay, and if the user says 5 or 6, whatever, so it has to be something like this. Okay, so what you want to do, you want to have two loops, and one loop will be will be counting these rows, and one would just print these stars. Okay, so first let's get the user input, user underscore input, and then let's convert that into an int. All right, let's get the input, and let's say enter a number. All right, now we want to start the first loop that will cause the number of rows, so I in range, and we want to run it user input times, and then we want to run the small loop, and this time this loop will run, you can see. So if the user says 1, that will mean that the loop would run one time, and then you need to print something. So if the user says, let's say 1, then you're gonna want to print something like this. Okay, 1 star. But if the user says 2, then you have to print 2 stars, and then you have to print another 1 star, something like this. So it gradually decreases. So it just basically means is that this loop, which basically does the function of printing stars, needs to produce maximum number of stars in the first row. So first row needs to have the maximum number of stars it can have. So basically user input times. So basically this needs to run user input times. Unlike yesterday's video's question, which gradually increased, but this will gradually decrease. So it's basically gonna do it's basically start with this, so it's gonna run this many times, and then what's gonna happen, we're gonna want to print stars, and then we'd want to concate it saying and this. So if you guys have doubts regarding this and equals to empty quotations, you can check my previous videos where I explained it in detail, so you can watch that. And after this is done, what we want to do, we want to just move to the new line and print this. Now when we run, let's say 6, so here you can see a rectangle formed. Okay, so but the structure that we needed was something like this, right? We needed something of this form. What the hell is happening? Whatever. Wait a sec. Okay, so we need something of this structure. So what's happening is that we had this small loop running entire time user input times, but what we didn't do is that we need to gradually decrease it. So subsequent times when it runs, we want this user input value to get reduced by 1. So what we can do after this loop ends, what we can do, we can print, and then what we can do, let's say the user input. Okay, so in this user input, which is this user input, let's store something. We want it equal to user input, which means this user input, but this one is this user input, the old one, and then we want to subtract 1 from it. So what's happening is that each time this small loop ends, it executes this, meaning that it reduces 1 from this user input, and then next time it runs 1 less time than it had run the previous time. Okay, so the number of iterations it has get reduced each time this loop runs completely. So, and now when we run, let's say 8, you can see this structure get printed. So yeah, that's basically it for this. Now let's go ahead and do the one which I had said I'd do. Okay, so for yesterday's question, okay, what we can do, the trick is that you can only use one loop and you can have that specific structure. So what you can do is that you can just write print, and then what you can do, you can use the star and then multiply it with I. So what it's going to do is that it's going to gradually increase. So first time this loop iterates, this I will have a value of 0, so that means it won't print. Next time it runs, it's going to have 1, so then it's going to print 1 star. Second time it runs, it's going to print 2 stars, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. Now let's say 6, you have this structure. Okay, let's say 12, you have this. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. As for fun, you can do this, but I recommend not to, because on this learning stage, I would recommend you learning it the hard way rather than picking the ones that might hamper your logic. So I mean, these stuff are, yeah, it's pretty fun though, but I'd say that's well, but I wouldn't recommend using this stuff. So as you're learning now, I'd say you go a bit the hard way, because that would build your foundations pretty strong, and then yeah, later on when you have all this down flat, you can do whatever you want. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. Yeah, thanks for watching.